Today we will be adding and subtracting mixed numbers. Step 1 will be to find equivalent fractions using the LCD. The LCD, remember, is the least common denominator, which is the least common multiple of the two denominators that we're adding or subtracting. The first thing we're going to do after we find the LCD is then subtract the fractions and second subtract the whole numbers. It's important you make a good habit of subtracting the fractions first because in a couple of days we're going to be subtracting fractions, mixed numbers with renaming. So it's important to subtract the fractions first and then secondly subtract the whole number part. Thirdly, we're going to simplify our answers, of course. So let's try one. 3 3/4 plus 4 5/12. So remember, the first thing we're going to do, step 1, is to find that least common denominator, the LCM of the denominators. So the LCM of 4 and 12 is 12. Remember, if you cannot think of the LCM, it's always a good idea to use the prime factorization method, the list method, or the cake method so that you can find the smallest multiple those denominators have in common. All right, so we're going to rewrite each of the mixed numbers using 12 as our new denominator. I always suggest rewriting the whole mixed numbers so that you don't forget about those whole numbers way over here. Now, since I multiplied 4 times 3 to get 12, I have to also multiply 3 times 3 to get 9. Remember, I'm multiplying by a fraction equivalent to 1, so that way 9/12 is equivalent to 3/4 according to the identity property, but 9/12 is in a different form. I now have chopped up my 3/4 into smaller pieces so that I have the same size pieces as I do down here with 4 and 5/12. And I'm ready to add. It's also important that you bring over that symbol. You don't want to forget whether you're adding or subtracting. So 9/12 plus 5/12 then is 14/12. And 3 plus 4 is 7. Now something looks a little funny about 14/12. It's an improper fraction. So how many of these 12ths make a whole? Remember, my denominator tells me how many pieces are in the whole. So there are 12 12ths in one whole. So I can exchange 12 of those 12ths for another whole. Now I have 8 wholes. And then if I exchanged 12 of those 12ths for one whole, I have 2 12ths left. So now I have renamed 7 and 14/12 as 8 and 2/12. 2/12 it can still be simplified because 2 and 12 share a common factor. So I can simplify them both by dividing by 2 halves. So then 8 and 2/12 is equivalent to 8 and 1/6 in simplest form. And that's it. That's how you add and subtract mixed numbers.